Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, 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 and thy blessed beneficence be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. Om Hari Om Tat Sat. Beloved Master, make it so. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday evening reading and discussion of Bhagavad Gita. We're well along in the book. We've been making fairly rapid progress. And so our reader is Swayam Prabha. She will tell us where we are and proceed. Before we begin, is there anything left over from previous sessions? Anything that anyone wants to clarify? Any question you'd like to ask, or any comment you'd like to make based on what we've read and said so far in our reading and discussion of these chapters of Bhagavad Gita? Anything at all? All right. Is Swayam with us?
Yes, I am, Brother Shankara.
Very good, dear. Tell us where we are and begin.
Okay, so we are in chapter 9, the Yoga of Mysticism, and page 98, the middle paragraph is where we left off last time. But I will start again from there.
Please do go ahead, dear.
Okay. This entire universe is pervaded by me, in that eternal form of mine, which is not manifest to the senses. Although I am not within any creature, all creatures exist within me. I do not mean that they exist within me physically. That is my divine mystery. You must try to understand its nature. My being sustains all creatures and brings them to birth, but has no physical contact with them. For as the vast air, wandering worldwide, remains within the ether always, so these, my wandering creatures, are always within me. These, when the round of ages is accomplished, I gather back to the seed of their becoming. These I send forth again at the hour of creation. Helpless all, for Maya is their master, and I, their Lord, the master of this Maya. Ever and again, I send these multitudes forth from my being. How shall these acts bind me, who am indifferent to the fruit they bear? For my spirit stands apart, watching over Maya, the maker.
Now let's just pause there. Just as Sri Krishna's spirit stands apart, the mystery here is just as Sri Krishna's spirit stands apart from time, space, and causation or Maya, so does yours. So does your embodiment of Atman. Atman stands apart from all of time, space, and causation. As Walt Whitman said, apart from the pulling and hauling stands what I am. Walt Whitman was the great American mystic. Swami Vivekananda called him the American sannyasi. So this is the thing for us to grasp. We are that. We are Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is the Atman. We are that. Tattvamasi. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Doesn't seem so to us? That's because we have not spent enough time in spiritual practice. As we spend enough time in spiritual practice, over time, we begin to identify more and more with the Atman, the witness of all of this time, space, and causation, all of this Maya, all of these gunas and their play. Until finally, our identification is complete. This is Savikalpa Samadhi. We see, this is the truth of being, and I am a part of that. So, having said all that, are there any comments from anyone else about this particular aspect of being, or any need for clarification, a concern, or a question? Anything at all? It's very important we not ramble on past here until there is real clarity about what Sri Krishna is saying. Very well, Swayam. Everyone appears to be satisfied that they're clear on what Sri Krishna means and how this relates to them individually and personally. So let's read on.
Maya makes all things. What moves, what is unmoving. O son of Kunti, that is why the world spins, turning its wheel through birth and through destruction. Fools pass blindly by the place of my dwelling, here in the human form, and of my majesty they know nothing at all. Who am the Lord, their soul? Vain is their hope.
Now, there he said it. I am both their Lord and their soul. By the soul, he's pointing to the Atman. So please read that again, Swayam. This, he is saying, he's Lord of all this, but then he is also your soul. That is to say, you are that from within this stardust spacesuit.
Fools pass blindly by the place of my dwelling, here in the human form, and of my majesty they know nothing at all. Who am the Lord, their soul? Vain is their hope, and in vain their labor, their knowledge. All their understanding is but bewilderment. Their nature has fallen into the madness of the fiends and monsters.
Now, wait a minute. Bewilderment by not doing what is necessary to resolve this issue of who am I, and coming to the conclusion that you are that, one becomes bewildered and falls into, say the words again, Swayam?
Falls into their nature has fallen into the madness of the fiends and monsters.
Fiends.
Fiends and monsters.
Fiends are those people who have become so fanatical, they become dangerous to other human beings and other living creatures, and to the planet itself. We see many fiends abroad in the world now, fiends and monsters, because they're so bewildered. Why are they bewildered? Because this is the end of the Kali Yuga, and the darkness is very deep. It's very thin. It can be penetrated easily by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Vivekananda. It can be penetrated easily. As it is said in the evening hymn, easy of access to us. But because most people never make an effort, they will be, as Sri Krishna said some paragraphs back, some sentences back, they will be gathered together at the end of this era, as this sixth mass extinction goes forward. They'll be gathered together to be reissued in the new age, the Satyug, which is dawning. So any comments, concerns, or questions from anyone about any of that? This bewilderment and its consequences.
Brother Shankara, can you clarify again this? Their nature has fallen into the madness of the fiends and monsters. You said a little bit that the fiends are the fanatics, but
well, what happens when we become bewildered? We become frightened. We become, because we don't know what's going on, all of our left limbic system and our left mind goes into full alarm. Jill Bolte Taylor explains this in detail in her new book, Whole Brain Living. It goes into full alarm. And so some people, not all, but some people become, they seize on something, some political philosophy, some social philosophy, something. They seize on something. And they, as Swami Vivekananda says, they become fanatics, which is a form of mental disease, obsessive compulsive disorder. They become fanatical. And these people become dangerous, because if it seems to them that you don't agree with them, they want to destroy you. These are the fiends and monsters. And we see them abroad in the world now. We see them abundantly abroad in the world. People who want to kill their enemies. Literally, they do it with these automatic weapons mass shootings. That's one form of it. These people are all fiends, fanatics. They all have, if you find out what's behind, they all have some crazy political and social philosophy that they're espousing, Nazism or something of that kind. They become fiendish. Fiendish means capable of any act of cruelty and destruction in order to be self-protective and get their way. And so they become increasingly radicalized, and they become, because of their bewilderment, they become fiends and monsters. And so Krishna is pointing this out. This is what happens when they pass by the truth and the majesty of his being. Now, are they the doer? No, they are not. Is Krishna the doer? Yes. So this is not that they are terribly bad and wrong people. This is the divine mystery that Sri Krishna pointed to a while back. These people exist within him, and he is the one who controls what happens to them because they exist within him. We all exist within him. Some of us are on a very different path. Does that get it, Swayam?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes.
Anything else from anyone before we go on? Please, if there's anything at all, it should be brought forward now. We shouldn't move on. And if there's anything that you feel shaky about, or that this is not clear to you, this is a building block process. The Gita becomes increasingly complicated as we go on, increasingly complex in its philosophy and in its presentation. So we should be clear before we go on. Otherwise, the building block process can't really take place.
So, Brother Shankar, actually, I have another question.
Yes, dear.
The previous the lines says, "Fools pass blindly by the place of my dwelling here in the human form." So, is he talking about
The Atman. The Atman.
Atman?
They never sense its presence. They ignore the voice of the Atman, which is the buddhi, it prompts the intellect. They ignore their conscience. They don't say, what is this voice from within me? We're taught to, as children, ignore our conscience. Our parents are deceptive with one another. Other adults are deceptive with one another. Clearly, they're not paying attention to their conscience. So children learn, oh, well, if I'm going to play this game the way the teachers are playing this game, then I'll ignore my conscience too. This is a horrible, horrible situation. It's because at the end of the Kali Yuga, there is no Dharma left. There is no Dharma. This is why in the evening prayer, it says Sri Ramakrishna has brought Dharma back. He is the embodiment of Dharma. So he is Dharma Swarupine. He is in the very form, Swarupine, the very form and embodiment of Dharma. But it has not had time to take full effect. This will be the restoration of Dharma is one of the signs of the fulfillment of the promise of the golden age or Satyug. Does that make sense, Swayam?
Yes, thank you.
Please let's not hurry on if there's something more that needs to be discussed.
I might be wrong about this unless it was Sri Ramakrishna talking as Krishna, but didn't he say this almost verbatim about Kali, about these when the rounds of ages is accomplished, I gather back to this the seeds of their becoming. These
Well, Kali does say this, yes.
That's what I thought. But
It says it. It says it. It says it in all of the Shakta scriptures, all of those scriptures that talk about. And Swami Vivekananda said, "Krishna is but mother's shadow." He's speaking as the mother, but that's because, as Vivekananda said, he is her shadow. It is the mother that is doing all this. As it says in the Chandi, she brings about minutes, moments, and other divisions of time in order to bring about change in things, and thus has the power to destroy the universe. The reason the universe goes on existing is because there's constant change. That is its fundamental nature. And that is, of course, the cause of our suffering, that we are attached to things. So when they change, we get disappointed, bewildered.
Well, I was just noticing how some of the things that Kali and Krishna say are almost identical, but for whatever reason, I wasn't making the connection. Like I wasn't identifying the two as the one.
Well, this is why Vivekananda said this to us, so that we would understand. He said, these are his words, Sri Krishna is nothing more than mother's shadow. He is her mother. He is mother's shadow. In other words, he is acting on as the mother, just as your shadow mirrors your actions. So the shadow of mother, as Sri Krishna, mirrors her actions, her thoughts. Sri Krishna, at the time that he was speaking, was the avatar of an age, the Bronze Age. And so he didn't speak as the mother, but it's just as you correctly identified, Bhagavandas, that what Kali says and what the mother says, or what is said about the mother in her many forms, throughout the Shakta scriptures and other scriptures, the Upanishads, this is her. It's all her. All time, space, and causation, everything that we can know in the sense of small k, know. Everything that we can know is the mother and her actions and the fruits of her actions. Our other kind of knowledge is the knowledge of our true original nature, the Atman, the truth of our being. And when we more and more identify with that, our suffering decreases simply because we do not identify with that which is causing the suffering. We don't hold on to it. We don't try to hold on to it. Thank you, Bhagavandas, and thank you, Swayam, for these comments and questions. Anything else from anyone? All right, dear, please let's go on.
Great in soul are they who become what is godlike. They alone know me, the origin, the deathless. They offer me the homage of an unwavering mind. Praising my might with heart and lips forever, striving for the virtue that wins me, and steadfast in all their vows. They worship, adoring, one with me always.
So this is our relationship with the Atman. This becomes our relationship with the Atman. So please read that again. Instead of being bewildered and becoming a fiend or monster, we instead become. So read that again, please, from the beginning, dear.
Great in soul are they who become what is godlike. They alone know me, the origin, the deathless. They offer me the homage of an unwavering mind, praising my might with heart and lips forever, striving for the virtue that wins me, and steadfast in all their vows. They worship, adoring, one with me always. Brother Shankara, I think the key here is this unwavering mind, offering with an unwavering mind the doership to the Atman.
Well, this unwavering mind comes after we have had the experience of Savikalpa Samadhi, because it is so transformative, such a powerful experience, that you can no longer have any doubt. So the mind does not waver and fall into doubt and fear in the way it did before. That doesn't mean that no doubt ever arises, no fear ever arises. Of course it does. That is the nature of the left mind. But you simply observe it. You simply say, aha, that's what that which knows, capital, the small k, that which knows time, space, and causation, and therefore seems to have reason to fear it. But the mind does not waver anymore because the knowledge, capital K knowledge, the capital K knowledge of the truth of your being is firm. Is that clear to everyone? What Sri Krishna is pointing to here? I'll ask Swayam to read it again in a moment, but I want to make sure that everyone has any comment, concern, or question raised that they might want to offer.
It's I can make a comment here, Brother Shankara.
Please do, dear.
Krishna is saying that to have that Dhruva Sankalpa, Dhruva was so focused on Vishnu, Narayana, and no matter what comes during his mantra, he never is disturbed. He continues to, almost like that. He's telling us that, people who become what is godlike, they know me. Great in soul are they who become what is godlike. That reminds me of Dhruva Sankalpa. Dhruva was so determined to see God and never get disturbed by fire, all these tigers in the forest. So he wants us to have that type of faith.
Well, it isn't that he wants us to have that kind of faith. He will give us that kind of faith if we come to him.
Yes.
And the faith is not based on some
it automatically comes.
Well, it comes because of the experience of Savikalpa Samadhi.
Yes.
It comes because one becomes aware, aha, there is nothing but that divine presence.
That's right.
And somehow I am a part of that. Inextricably and forever, without any ifs, ands, or buts. I am a part of that. And that's why the mind becomes steadfast or as Sri Krishna says here, unwavering.
Unwavering mind.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you, Raima. You're right. This is why the forest sages and others could take this attitude. They feared nothing. It isn't that they wouldn't leave an area if there was a forest fire, but they didn't fear the fire or the fact that their little hut would be burned down or anything of the kind. They didn't fear a tiger because they did not behave as a man, so the tiger did not behave as a tiger, as Ramana Maharshi pointed out. Thank you, Jaime. Anything else from anyone?
you, brother.
You know, like it talks about the fiends and the monsters, you know, that's an intense fear of death that, you know, once you've had that experience, you no longer have.
Precisely. But the intense fear of death, the intense fear of loss, it isn't just death, it's loss of any kind. They feel so deprived. These people who fall into this fiends and monsters category, they feel so deprived. They constantly talk about, you know, you can't tell me what to do. You can't take anything from me. I don't want to pay any taxes. All these are manifestations of this sense of deprivation, and it's grotesque. It's grotesque, but nevertheless, there it is. And once again, we have to take Krishna seriously. He alone is the doer. So this is something that is taking place because it is in the way his Maya unfolds itself. But we do not need to be involved at all except to just do whatever is necessary to maintain our embodiment in health and well-being as best we can. Anything else from anyone?
So, Brother Shankara,
Yes, dear.
it's, since it is Mother or Krishna or Shiva themselves who are playing as the various embodied beings, when he or she or it gets tired of being in that particular role in that play, in the big scheme of things, will automatically, I guess, get that embodiment to turn inwards and become liberated. I don't know if I'm making sense with the words, but if it's Shiva or Mother playing, so it's in their hands to decide, okay, I'm done playing as Swayam, so let me go back.
Yes, but it is definitely them doing it. This is the thing, we think that we have decided to take a spiritual path. No, this is what is meant by grace. And this is the profound message of the book Divine Grace by Swami Ranganathananda, that we are not the ones who choose. We seem to be in the beginning, but after a time we understand, oh, I am not the doer, I am not the chooser. It is Sri Krishna, he Swami Ranganathananda, because of the audience he was speaking to in Perth, Australia in 1978, he used Sri Krishna as, he could have spoken about it as the mother or any other form of the divine. But when we choose to take this spiritual path, this is why it's so important to listen to what Christ said. Ye have not chosen me, I have chosen you. And so we are chosen by the divine to follow the path out of the wilderness, out of the dark forest of Maya, and into the clarity of, of knowledge of the Atman, ultimately knowledge of Brahman. But that's another step again that is not within our control. We can do the self-effort. It seems as if we're doing it, the self-effort, to achieve Savikalpa Samadhi. So yes, Swayam, you're right. When we begin to head the other direction, when we head inward, it isn't because Mother or Shiva or whatever is tired of this. That doesn't seem what the scriptures and the teachers say. It's that it's simply time. And Sri Ramakrishna says it'll happen at exactly the right time. But, there are those scriptures that say this spiritual path is for weary souls. And Sri Krishna points to that as one of the four noble paths, one of the four noble reasons for seeking knowledge of himself as Krishna. We covered that a couple of chapters back. Anything else from anyone? All right, dear, please read on.
I'm just going to start from that great in soul again.
Please.
Great in soul are they who become what is godlike. They alone know me, the origin, the deathless. They offer me the homage of an unwavering mind, praising my might with heart and lips forever, striving for the virtue that wins me, and steadfast in all their vows. They worship, adoring, one with me always. Others worship me, knowing Brahman in all things. Some see me one with themselves or separate. Some bow to the countless gods that are only my million faces. Rites, the RITES, rites that the Vedas ordain and the rituals taught by the scriptures, all these am I. And the offering made to the ghosts of the fathers, herbs of healing and food, the mantra, the clarified butter, I, the oblation, and I, the flame into which it is offered. And there is an asterisk after mantram, name or names of God, which the devotee must repeat and meditate upon. An individual mantram is given by the teacher to each of his disciples at the time of initiation. So I'm going to read that again. Rites that the Vedas ordain and the rituals taught by the scriptures, all these am I. And the offering made to the ghosts of the fathers, herbs of healing and food, the mantram, the clarified butter, I, the oblation, and I, the flame into which it is offered. Brother Shankara, this is not the Brahmarpanam verse, is it?
No. That I think occurs in chapter 5. But it says that exact same thing. Om Brahmarpanam Brahmavya Brahmagno Brahmanautam Brahma eva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. Brahman is the offering. Brahman is the ritual. Brahman is the one who offers to the fire that is Brahman. So it's exactly the same thing Krishna is saying. Brahman is the offering. Brahman is the ritual. Brahman is one who offers to the fire that is Brahman. One who sees Brahman in every action attains to Brahman. So this is that famous verse. One who sees Brahman in every action, that every action is something being offered to the divine. That's what the first part of the verse says. So every action is in fact, there is nothing but Brahman. So all the doing, all the seeming, all the offering, all of it is all Brahman, or the Atman. This is Krishna's Maya in operation, but it is in fact only Brahman that is in every action. Is that clear?
Yes, Brother Shankara. Just again, a little curiosity. The meaning of this verse is so similar to the Brahmarpanam. So, how did that verse get to be chosen as the offering that we do before food?
Oh, I have no idea, dear. It's very ancient. It started, according to Swami Prabhavananda, as something that the monks did, long ago. They used this verse from the Gita to remind themselves of the truth of being. That no matter what was going on, and of course the food is an important thing, particularly since Krishna says, if we take food that has not been offered, we're stealing from the devas, which is not a mortal sin or great crime, but it is certainly ungrateful. So why that verse was chosen, probably because of its succinctness, but you'll find that in the Gita, certain ideas are repeated over and over, just as they are in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, that certain things are repeated over and over because they are really central ideas. And this one is a central idea, that everything is that, capital T. So you might want to read these lines again so that we get a grasp of what is the. But before you do, is there anything else from anyone else from anyone else about any of this? All right, dear, please go ahead.
Brother Shankar, actually, I do have a question.
Oh, yes, go ahead, dear.
I mean, we can offer, Krishna himself says, offer everything. So I guess it is more of a tradition or a custom that in our festivals, we don't offer certain things to God. Is that more of like just the culture?
Well, what do you mean, dear? I don't
Like
understand.
even the garlic and onion is not supposed to be used in the puja food. Obviously not in any non-vegetarian.
The reason for that is very practical and simple, dear. Onion and garlic promote the guna of rajas. They promote this lust and rage. So this is why they're not offered. It isn't that there's anything inherently wrong with them, that somehow they're left out. But it's just one doesn't want to prepare food that that will engender, that will promote lust, especially lust, and even rage. This is the nature of the Rajaguna, is lust and rage. So that's at least why those things aren't part of what's offered. I don't know about anything else.
It's mostly, the non-vegetarian and onion garlic.
Oh, well, the non-vegetarian thing, as Vivekananda said, this is an exaggeration by the Buddhists of ahimsa. He says 5 Brahmins used to eat a cow. And of course they would offer it before they took it. So the fact that now things are things that are not vegetarian are not seen as suitable, Vivekananda was very clear. This was an exaggeration of the principle of ahimsa by the Buddhists, and it got into the culture of India, though Buddhism did not persist. This exaggerated emphasis on ahimsa, which resulted in vegetarianism, did, particularly in South India. And it's neither here nor there. Swami Prabhavananda and the other monks at the time that Swami Prabhavananda was alive, they ate everything, including pork. Swami Vivekananda is offered bacon and sausage on his birthday, along with all kinds of other food. A full American breakfast. And so this is, as I said, this vegetarianism. You may observe it as it's neither here nor there. As Vivekananda points out, it's a secondary detail. Maybe even a tertiary, maybe even third level.
I can't remember his exact quote, but he said that, basically a holy man can eat swine all day long. He's still going to be a holy man, and a dirtbag can eat grass all day long. He's still going to be a dirtbag.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah. And he said, he wrote back to his brother monks when he was here in the United States, I have eaten everything I was offered, every kind of meat, every kind of thing that they prepare. And I have watched my nerves and my mind, and I can detect no difference. I can detect no inflection of these foods on mine. And he was very, very skilled at observing his nerves, his muscles, and his mind. Very skilled. So we can make up our own minds what to do about these things. We just mustn't be doctrinaire or dogmatic about it. If someone eats meat, we mustn't think they're bad and wrong. Anything else from anyone? Thank you both, Swayam and Bhagavan Das. All right, dear, please go back and read what you read, and then we'll go ahead. We have 11 minutes left.
Rites that the Vedas ordain and the rituals taught by the scriptures, all these are mine, and the offering made to the ghosts of the fathers, herbs of healing and food, the mantram, the clarified butter, I the oblation, and I am the flame into which it is offered. I am the sire of the world, and this world's mother and grandsire. I am he who awards to each the fruit of his action. I make all things clean. I am Om. I am absolute knowledge. I am also the Vedas, the Sama, the Rig, and the Yajus. I am the end of the path, the witness, the Lord, the sustainer. I am the place of abode, the beginning, the friend, and the refuge. I am the breaking apart and the storehouse of life's dissolution. I lie under the scene, all of the creatures, the seed that is changeless. I lie under the scene of all creatures, the seed that is changeless. I am the heat of the sun, and the heat of the fire am I also. Life eternal and death. I let loose the rain or withhold it. Arjuna, I am the cosmos revealed, and its germ that lies hidden. They that are versed in the triple Veda, worshipping me with the rites appointed, drinking the wine of the God's communion, cleansed from their cleansed from their sinning, these men pray for passage to heaven, thus attaining the realm of Indra, home of the happy. There they delight in celestial pleasures, pleasures more spacious than any earthly. They taste a while, till the merit that won them is all exhausted. Then they return to the world of the mortals. Thus go the righteous who follow the road of the triple Veda, in formal observance, hungry still for the food of the senses, drawn by desire to endless returning. But if a man will worship me and meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, I shall supply all his needs and protect his possessions from loss.
Now, this is one of Krishna's great promises in the Gita. I'm going to ask Swayam to read this again, what the conditions are for him doing it, and then the fact that it's done. But it is as spontaneous and natural as the sun rising as the earth turns and brings it above the horizon. It's not as if this is something that is, it's not a meritocracy. But Sri Krishna says, if you do this, then I'll do this. And please understand, it is completely spontaneous and natural. So please read those lines again, Swayam.
But if a man will worship me and meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, I shall supply all his needs and protect his possessions from loss.
Now, what does it mean, devoting every moment to me? It's what he talks about in chapters 5 and 6, when he explains karma yoga. Offer everything to me, live sacramentally. Every moment, every action, every thought, every perception, all of it, offer it all to him, every moment to me, every moment and all it contains. Offer it all to the divine presence. if you do that, you will have an undistracted mind, or a much less distracted mind. Certainly you will not hanker for the things of the world, because you're just, everything that arises you're offering. And so then Sri Krishna says, I'll supply all your needs, and even see that you're not dispossessed. In other words, you won't lose what you have. You won't become homeless. So this is one of those great catalogs that exists in the Gita and in all of the scriptures, the Upanishads. These great catalogs, I am all of this. I am essentially saying, trying to get across to us that he, Sri Krishna, is everything. Everything. Everything is the divine being in manifestation. Any comments or questions or concerns? So I'm going to ask you to go back, Swayam, and read that catalog again, so that we get this firmly in mind, and that'll be where we stop for this evening, because it's 8:26, 8:27. So read that catalog again up to where we just stopped.
Okay. I am the sire of the world, and this world's mother and grandsire. I am he who awards to each the fruit of his action. I make all things clean. I am Om. I am absolute knowledge. I am also the Vedas, the Sama, the Rig, and the Yajus. I am the end of the path, the witness, the Lord, the sustainer. I am the place of abode, the beginning, the friend, and the refuge. I am the breaking apart and the storehouse of life's dissolution. I lie under the scene of all creatures, the seed that is changeless. I am the heat of the sun, and the heat of the fire am I also, life eternal and death. I let loose the ring or withhold it. Arjuna, I am the cosmos revealed, and its germ that lies hidden. They that are versed in the triple Veda, worshipping me with the rites appointed, drinking the wine of the God's communion, cleansed from their sinning, these men pray for the passage to heaven, thus attaining the realm of Indra, home of the happy. There they delight in celestial pleasures, pleasures more spacious than any earthly. They taste a while, till the merit that won them is all exhausted. Then they return to the world of the mortals. Thus go the righteous who follow the road of the triple Veda in formal observance, hungry still for the food of the senses, drawn by desire to endless returning. But if a man will worship me and meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, I shall supply all his needs and protect his possessions from loss. That's how far we had read.
Okay, that's plenty far enough. Is there anything anyone would like to say about any of what we just heard?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
this is implying that this physical world doesn't exist. It's an illusion. So why should you bother about giving it, doing, or having anything to do with it?
Well, that is the Jnani's attitude.
yeah,
Just what you said. That is the Jnani's attitude. Why should I have anything to do with it? I will ignore it. I will say not this, not that, and have nothing to do with it. That is not the way of the other three yogas. Each of them has a way of dealing with it. Sri Krishna in the Gita especially emphasizes karma yoga. He says, because you are embodied, and because you are embodied because I cause you to be embodied, offer everything to me. Because I am causing this, and I am bringing this about, then offer it all back to me. Live sacramentally, he says.
Yes.
But when Sri Ramakrishna would pinch the Yannis, that's why. That's what he was saying is, yeah, it's ephemeral, but you're still trapped in the incarnation.
Well, they would insist it wasn't real, but he knew they really hadn't assimilated those ideas. They were what in Trabuco are referred to, the Trabuco Monastery, as armchair Advaitists. They love to think about it, talk about it, represent it as their stance and point of view. But as you just pointed out, when it comes right down to it, they don't really act that way. If Sri Ramakrishna had pinched a real Jnani, but of course a real Jnani would never have made those representations, never represented himself. They never would have said anything whatsoever about any of that. There were some true Jnanis that came into Sri Ramakrishna's precincts. He didn't pinch them because they didn't say anything that would prompt him to do it. And so, as Robert pointed out, there is a stand, a point of view that says this world is a dream. It is illusory. It is there is no real substance to it. The substance is behind. It is the divine. So I will negate. I will say not this, not that, until finally I've negated everything that is changing, finite, and changing and finite and ephemeral, rather than eternal. So, but we're studying. Can't talk now, I'm in class. So that'll do it for tonight, I think.
Brother Shankara?
Yes, dear.
I'd like to quickly share this interesting mathematical story that I heard in one of the talks on Maya, to explain
Yes.
Maya. So there was this wealthy man who had amassed a lot of fortune. So he had written a will as to how his things should be divided. He had 3 sons, and so he had clearly laid out in the will. And upon his death, the 3 of them sat and they were following everything that was written in the will. So now the man had 17 cows. And for that, he wrote in his will that 1/2 of the total should go to the first son, 1/6 of the total should go to the second son, and 1/9 of the total should go to the third son. So here the squabbling started because 17 is not divisible by 2 or 3 or 9. So they were like fighting and didn't know what to do. So then there was this wise man, they went to this wise man and he heard their dilemma and he said, okay, wait a minute. So he went to his shed and brought one more cow. So now it became 18 cows. So he said, okay, what does the will say? One half should go to the first son. Okay, 18 divided by 2 is 9. So the first son gets 9. He said, okay, the second one gets 1/3. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. So the second one gets 6. And then he says, okay, the third one should get 1/9. 18 divided by 9 is 2. So the third son gets 2. But lo and behold, 19 plus 6 plus 2 is 17. Problem solved. So he took the 18th cow home. And so it is said that Maya is like the 18th cow. It's there, it's not there, and it just comes to explain.
Beautiful. What a gorgeous story. There are so many of these things in the Puranas and elsewhere. Anything else from anyone? Yes, that was a wise man indeed, wasn't it? All right. Om Hari Om. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Abir Moiti. O dearly beloved Lord, lead us from this realm of endless noise and relentless delusion to thine abode of silence, serenity, clarity, and peace. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from darkness and ignorance to the brilliance of thy wisdom and love. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through. Light us through and through with thy everlasting, shining presence. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dearly beloved, make it so. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga, Durga, Durga. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be cheerful. May we have peace of mind. And may we go forward in the secure knowledge that we are in the loving and protective embrace of the Divine Being as our Mother and Father. Om Hari Om, Om Hari Om, Om Hari Om Tat Sat. Dearly beloved, make it so. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, 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 and thy blessed beneficence be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. So until Saturday, when we'll take up the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, our Saturday noon class, and then Sunday's talk will be Why, Oh Why, We Ask Why. It's the final talk about Jnana Yoga for this month. Why, oh why, we ask why. Any final thought or question or concern from anyone? All right, dears. And away we go. So good to have been with you.